Skatoosh! Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. So, Theros spoilers are still upon us. They will be upon us for like the next, I'd say, 3 weeks or so. Today, though, we have some interesting ones. I say interesting because this is the first time Wizards of the Coast has done something like this, and that is they are bringing exclusive cards, the majority of what you're about to see, that will only be found in theme booster packs. Remember those ones? I've opened a ton of them on the channel. If you want to get an idea of what they look like, what's inside of them, just type in theme booster Bad Boy Gaming and you'll see at least 4 or 5 different sets of theme booster packs. Well, I complained a lot during that time, you know, like in at least 3 of the videos I mentioned, man, they need something like exclusive. They need something they got to do special just for this, or include an additional rare. Something. Give these theme booster packs more value. And it looks like Wizards of the Coast may have been listening, perhaps. Their ivory tower misfits up there, you know, pulling all the strings and stuff like we're puppets. It looks like they may have listened to that, or just, you know, listen to everyone that's complained, you know, this product's not good, you know, maybe it's not even selling enough, it's sitting on the product. They probably looked at stats and analytics and they decided, well, it's time we do something different with this. And I'm thankful they did. So it's up to you guys, really, to determine if you think you would be more interested now in buying this product once I show you these spoilers. There's at least 8 rares we're going to show, and then I also have 2 Mythic Planeswalkers we're going to go over as well. So here's Victory's Envoy. I didn't do a lot of research on this. I just basically just got them on the screen, and we're going to go over them together now. So it's a 5-drop, Human Cleric. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. For 5, that's actually not bad. It is 3, it's easy to remove, it costs 5 to bring down, but that ability, every single turn, at the beginning of your upkeep, you can splash +1/+1 counters on all your other creatures. Unfortunately, this one doesn't get bigger, but it's not legendary, which means you can have multiple of these on the battlefield, which then the trigger would apply, if you had 2 of these, to each one. So your Envoy would then start plussing up. Very interesting. I mean, I don't know if any of this stuff is going to see competitive play in regular standard, but some cards, there's possibilities, you know, plus there's also a lot of ways to cheat cards into play. So keep that in mind as well. All right, moving along. Serpent of Yawning Depths. It's a 6-drop. Enchantment Creature Serpent. 6/6. Do you guys see that? 6/6/6. Just saying, man. Made my heart skip a beat right there. I don't know what's going on. Krakens, Leviathans, Octopuses, and Serpents you control can't be blocked except by Krakens, Leviathans, Octopuses, and Serpents. Really cool that you're making a bunch of things unblockable, but it's kind of sad because you're making cards be unblockable that are very large casting costs for all of them. I mean, if someone can help me out, what is the cheapest Serpent, Octopus, Leviathan, or Kraken out there? Let me know in the comments. You know, what are the cheapest casting costs to bring one of those out? Because from my understanding, Krakens are not cheap to get on the field. Leviathans are extremely high converted mana cost, and Octopuses and Serpents, I believe, are high as well. So that being said, neat card, but I don't know about all that. It looks like there's a lot of steep casting costs here. Underworld Sentinels. So far, in my own opinion, the very first card we saw is probably the only card that has a possibility of seeing any kind of competitive play. Maybe, and that's a stretch, okay? 5-drop. Whenever Underworld Sentinel attacks, this is a skeleton soldier, exile target creature card from your graveyard. When Underworld Sentinel dies, put all cards exiled with it onto the battlefield. That's cool and all, but you might only get one use out of this because the thing might just die. It is a 5-drop. It's on a 5 body, which is good. There's 4 power, which makes it a little something, you know, to be feared. But again, there's a lot of better options out there right now, especially when you have 6/6 flyers, which have the what's the mechanic? I can't even think of the name of the card off the top of my head, but I think it's a demon. Very powerful. It's a 5-drop, and it's a 6/6 with flying and another additional perk on it. 9 times out of 10 rather have that card than this card on the field. You know, plus you have to attack with this thing. It's not like it comes out with haste. So something interesting there. Terror of Mount Veles. I just love dragons, so this is cool with me. I'm not sure if these are going to be in foil. They may. If they are, that'd be great. But anyway, 7-drop. These are all rares, by the way. Creature dragon, flying and double strike. Oh, yes. This is a beast, man. I mean, for real, it's a dragon, but it's a beast. When Terror of Mount Velus enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain double strike until end of turn. So if whatever you have on the field, doesn't matter what it is, you're going to be swinging in for some huge damage. Downside, again, it's 7 to cast this. But all these creatures are kind of game ending. This one especially. If you're able to get this to resolve, and you can trick these creatures into play, there's a lot of stuff that brings cards from the graveyard onto the battlefield, even with haste in some occasions. For 5 mana, for 4 mana, that's really neat. We might even see a new one that makes it, maybe another downside, but for cheaper casting cost, to take a card from the graveyard and put it on the battlefield. Might see something new in this new Theros, Beyond Death. Time will tell, but I do like this card. I think it's pretty cool. You guys know I'm going to play with these. These will all be standard legal for sure. Just how much play they will see is a question. All right, moving forward. Ironscale Hydra. It's a 5-drop. If a creature would deal combat damage to Ironscale Hydra, prevent that damage and put a +1/+1 counter on Ironscale Hydra. So basically, the only way to deal with this card is Death Touch I don't think would apply either. I think if someone had Death Touch, I mean, if the damage is all prevented, I'm actually not too certain how that would work. I think that it would negate that as well. I'm not 100% on that. But regardless, the way to deal with this, you basically have to exile the thing or destroy it or something because it's combat damage. So, but if you can't, if it's being blocked every turn, imagine giving this thing trample and then putting +1/+1 counter on it every time. Prevent that damage and put a +1/+1 counter on it. That's pretty cool. I wonder if multiple sources would cause multiple triggers, though. If a creature would deal combat damage to Underscale Hydra, prevent it. Yeah, if 2 creatures block this, I would assume if someone's that silly to do that, I'm assuming that would trigger twice then. For each creature that blocked it. Pretty insane. I don't think anyone wants to do that, but interesting card. We will see what it does. 5-drop for 5/5. It's a Hydra. There's better Hydras out there right now, but still pretty neat. Cool art too. Tree Shaker Chimera. Ooh, I like the art on that. Got a whole lot going on there. Got like a dog and a lion and a I don't know what that is. Something gazelle maybe. I don't know. It's a 7-drop Chimera. All creatures are able to block Tree Shaker Chimera do so. When Tree Shaker Chimera dies, draw 3 cards. That is kind of neat that there's card draw to go with this, but I think the biggest cool thing is all creatures able to block Tree Shaker Chimera do so. We've seen this before. There's actually an elf out there that's a 1/1, I believe, that also does this. I think it's from Urza's Destiny. But that's a pretty cool card nonetheless, because that forces all of your opponent's creatures to block this. So any other creatures you have on the field, those are going to get through. They're basically unblockable because every creature has to block the Chimera. So pretty interesting. And then when it dies, you do get to draw 3 cards. So not bad. And you're going to be taking out stuff with that. Again, the casting cost is rather steep. It's 7. But cheating cards into play, just run some Golgari and have some fun with that. But I want to see one of these with haste. Give me one of these big creatures with haste. And I'd be pretty cool with that. Grasping Giant, 6-drop. Creature Giant. Vigilance, it's a 5/7. Ooh, that's a lot of toughness there. Whenever Grasping Giant becomes blocked by a creature, exile that creature until Grasping Giant leaves the battlefield. So, I mean, that's kind of cool if you can have a way to play cards from exile, which I believe there are ways to do that. Play your creatures cards from exile. That'd be something. Because otherwise, I mean, I don't think it's even a good card. I think it's just the worst one of all of them, in my opinion. Vigilance is great, but when Grasping Giant becomes blocked by a creature, exile a creature until Grasping Giant leaves the battlefield. So let's say entering the battlefield triggers that your opponent has on some of his creatures. They choose to block. Well, they get exiled. But let's say this is able to destroy those creatures. So then they're going to blink in and then trigger all over again. Could be a dangerous card to run. I honestly would never run this for any reason whatsoever. That's me. But again, if there is some tricks with the exile, then it could be something to consider. But I highly, highly doubt it. Next, we have Demon of Loathing, 7-drop. 7/7, Flying and Trample. What's a big boy there? Whenever Demon of Loathing deals combat damage to a player, that player sacrifices a creature. I like that. But remember, you have to be able to get through. The damage has to get through. Now, there was trample on it, so, I mean, it wouldn't be the most difficult thing to do. And then, that person has to sacrifice a creature. So this is something they're going to want to destroy right away. But again, it's 7 to bring out. This is a beast. These are all like game-ending, cards, in my opinion. You get one of these to resolve, and a turn goes by, and then it's your turn to attack with one of these things. Pretty beast mode, man. I mean, I like that they're doing something. I think in the comments I'm going to hear a lot of people saying, oh, this is all crap. This is all crap. Yeah, kind of. I mean, that may be the case, but in other formats, there's ways to trick things into play, and maybe some people will consider playing these. And even right now, you can trick some cards into play, and who knows, again, we might get something new. But that looks pretty cool. Death, Bellow, Warcry. 8-drop. That is a massive amount of mana to pay. But there is things like, Ironcrag Feet, where you can trick some stuff into play. You get 7 mana at your disposal. I think they made it 8 for a reason, so you couldn't just do that Ironcrag Feet and go to this. But I remember saying Minotaurs, Minotaur Tribal might be a thing in coming up Theros. It looks like that could be a possibility. Now, if you could cheat this thing out of the battlefield again, search your library for up to 4 Minotaur creature cards with different names, put them on the battlefield, and shuffle your library, you're going to have a major threat, especially if you can give your creatures haste or something. Yeah, that's insane. But again, to cheat this into play, you got to go something with Ironcrag Feet, also have an additional mana, or maybe a treasure token to sacrifice from like a goblin or something. I don't even know if they have that in the format anymore, if those are gone. You're going to have another means, another excess mana to do that, even after paying the additional 4 for Ironcrag Feet and then having the 7 mana. You need 1 left over to do that. So you still need 8 to do it, or cheat it into play. Again, pretty cool. It's a cool concept. But I don't think many of these are going to see much play, but that's pretty neat. Then we have Sphinx Mindbreaker, 7-drop, 6/6, flying. When Sphinx Mindbreaker enters the battlefield, each opponent puts the top 10 cards of their library into their graveyard. That's pretty cool, especially if you could blink this thing a couple times. You're going to have the game wrapped up in no time, just by milling your opponent out. But then again, 7 mana, that's a lot to drop. Cool effect. If there's a way to just blink this on the battlefield and put it back into your hand or something, that'd be cool if you could just keep doing that, because you just mill your opponent out real fast. And who knows, there might be ways to do that, but probably not so much in standard, at least not in any means easy, any way to get it, nothing that easily achievable, I believe. But interesting card, interesting concept. Yet again, the high casting cost is going to prevent this from seeing play. Ashiok, Sculptor of Fear, Planeswalker, baby, 6-drop. +2, you draw a card. Each player puts the top 2 cards of the library into the graveyard. So that's kind of boring. Nothing really new there. It's -5. Put target creature card from a graveyard out of the battlefield under control. That's under anyone's graveyard. And all you got to do is plus this once to have 6 loyalty, and then -5. And Ashiok still doesn't even die at that point. But that is a lot, really, to get stuff going. The good news is you can draw a card. You can also get 2 of your opponent's creatures into the graveyard, possibly creatures, depending on what's milled there. Interesting. And then it's -11. Gain control of all creatures target opponent controls. That's pretty fun, but again, it's 6. This is 6 to cast. This is not going to be found in your theme boosters. These will be found in your Planeswalker decks. Cool card. I don't really got too much more to say on that one. Interesting card, though. Elspeth, Undaunted Hero, is a 5-drop. 4/2 colorless and 3 white. It's +2. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. As we all know, that's pretty big. We already have a card in Standard currently that does just this. I think it's slightly different on each of... No, it's the same. I think it's the same exact ability. And that's Vivian. So put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 creatures you control, or 2 target creatures. You could put that on anything. Doesn't really matter, I guess. I don't know why you want to beef up your opponent's creatures, but you could if you wanted to. -2, search the library under graveyard for a card named Sunlit Hoplite, which we have no clue what the heck this is. Put it on the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. I'm sure it's nothing that's overpowering, because Wizards wouldn't do that. Not in a Planeswalker kind of thing. -8 until end of turn. Creatures you control gain flying and get +X/+X, where X is your devotion to white. Again, I've been saying it. We're seeing devotion. Devotion is back in a heavy way. We will be seeing devotion decks strictly solid colors. That's what devotion is. I heard a few people question what devotion is in the comment section. So all the mana symbols up here, right here, equate to your amount of devotion. So if you have 1, 2, 3 white, you have 3 white devotion. You have that much devotion. Okay. If you have anything that has it in the casting cost, it counts towards your devotion, and it has to be a permanent that stays on the field. and your devotion goes up. So if you had this and like another creature with maybe 2 white casting costs, you know, in it, then you would have 5 devotion. Okay, so all your creatures would get +5/+5, or access your devotion to white, which wouldn't be a lot considering you only had the 1 creature out. But anyway, still, that is something. Yeah, that's the entirety of these spoilers today. Let me know what you guys think. Which card are you most interested in? Which card do you think has a chance to see standard play? If I had to make any guess on which one would see some standard play, I mean, for fun, I'll be playing this. This is the worst card ever. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. This is atrocious. Terrible design. Bad. This card's fun. I think this one's a possibility, but not really. Not in standard competitive decks. I highly doubt it. Especially not with, like, if it was maybe 4 and then 3, you know, like devotion. If they were trying to lean more towards the devotion aspect, maybe something like this would see play. You know, or if this was like 1 and 3 green, you know, if they took out 1 converted mana cost, a colorless, and then replaced it, you know, with a green, I mean, I could see something happening, maybe. This card looks like a lot of fun. I'm going to use this in a deck to cheat some stuff into play, some shenanigans and whatnot. That'll be kind of cool. Underworld Sentinel, again, I don't know about this stuff, but there is to be a lot of things with Exile afoot in this upcoming set, so keep that in mind. Serpent of Yawning Depths. Just a lot of this looks like bulk, you know, it really does. But they're going to be more rare, you know, I mean, they are rare, but they're going to be more harder to find if they're only going to be in these theme decks. So the price of these might be worth a little bit more. And I'm hoping Wizards of the Coast includes one of these in every theme pack, and then a random rare. If they did that, they could even up the price $1, and I would still pay that, you know, but I'm not willing to pay more than, right now they're like $7.40, I think. Between $7 and $8 a normal theme booster pack goes for. I'd be willing to pay $8 if they were, or $8.50 even, if they were to include 1 copy of this and a copy of a rare. Don't just give me a bunch of uncommon and common junk. I don't really care, all right? If I'm purchasing these theme booster packs, which I will be opening these up on the channel, I want to get something of value out of it. You know, I don't just want to be like, oh, look, a dud rare and everything else stinks. Or, you know, the same copy of every single card and every single theme booster. That's going to be lame as well. You know, but it looks like they have 2 copies. So, surprise, you're going to get one or the other in the white one. You'll get this or you'll get the giant. You know, you get the you get the Kraken or octopus, wherever it was. Or you're going to get the Sphinx, you know, like if you purchase the blue one. That's what it seems like they're going to do. I hope they don't do that. I hope they include some rare as well from the normal standard, not just that, and that's it. All right, those are my thoughts on this. And obviously some of these cards have been the other. This is probably the one card that might see standard play, possibly. Possibly, guys. I highly doubt it. Possibly. If I had to put my money on any of them, it'd be that one. All right. Again, let me hear which one you think would. I think it's interesting. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in today. I do appreciate you. Make sure you punch the like button on the way out the door, and you have a great day. Skadoosh. Oh, and check out these videos right above my head. That's right, and over there, too, now that we're blocking Victory's Envoy. Skadoosh.